Welcome to Franchising Stronger Together. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of the International Franchise Professionals Group, IFPG. Excited to introduce you to Mike Hopkins today. Mike is COO of Paul Davis Restoration, part of FirstService Brands. Mike, welcome to the call today.
Thanks so much for having me, Red. I appreciate it.
Excited to get with you today and understand how you guys have been impacted and the plan for the future. But beforehand, let's talk to you. How you and the family, where are you located?
We're in Cleveland, Ohio, and that's been exciting. So, 26 years of marriage doesn't prepare you for a pandemic, but we're really grateful. Our family's doing really well. We've got one kiddo who's married and living in Champaign, Illinois, and he's right there on the front lines as an ICU and nurse there and critical care as well, and a daughter-in-law who's out there doing social work, and so they're doing a great job. And all of our other 4 kids are home, so that's been a blast to have our college folks home that normally this time of year they wouldn't be. And so it's been neat to have everybody home.
Absolutely. And you are you at the home office? Or are you at the office?
I'm at my house where I'm officing at the moment, and all is well there. So that's working out just fine. Everybody here is used to doing their things online, and bit of an adjustment, but they've made it happen. It's been actually a lot of fun. How's your family, Red?
Well, I am not at the home. My wife would not let me put this on the wall. Kudos to you for having yours on the home office. Good job. I got 3 teenagers, all now in high school, and knock on wood, they're great kids and they're doing well, and their mama's doing well, and we're enjoying it. I've still got a little sunburn from our time on tubing the river in Central Texas. Just got back about 36 hours ago, so. We are very good, thanks.
That's terrific.
So let's talk franchising, brother. So we started this series 2.5, 3 months ago, and been blessed to have some incredibly great interviews. Got to interview Tom, of course, that works with you, Tom Wood. We started it calling it COVID-19 Franchise Leaders Respond, and then we had the hashtag Franchising Stronger Together. But as we get out of the whole pandemic season, praying it's one season, we kind of twisted the name back to, that hashtag really makes sense. We might keep that forever, Franchising Stronger Together. So we're going to talk kind of pandemic, how you were hit, how you were impacted, how you responded, but also in the Franchising Stronger Together mindset, advice, guidance, insights you can give the franchise community. And I love that you're a COO, so you oversee, and I heard you oversee FranDev, so you can really speak to the whole picture. So how was Paul Davis impacted, the heart of the pandemic?
It's interesting, right? Because the situation, obviously it affected the world, but it especially affected regions of the country. And, as an organization, we chose to respond to lead very assertively in that process. So no waiting around. Long before things were shut down, we were moving very quickly towards, let's make sure that we're educating, collaborating, and communicating with our franchisees to make sure that they're healthy, their team members are healthy, and that they've got systems in place not only to be physically healthy and take care of our customers, because we're uniquely built for that, and we can talk about that later if you like, but also they're operationally healthy and fiscally healthy. So we responded very quickly to that. It's been neat to watch the already very tight community here at Paul Davis. We call it a family here at Paul Davis, unite even stronger around really making sure that our franchisees and their team members are doing well. So every single one of our team members that's here to support our offices stepped up big in whatever their area of expertise is to make sure that our franchisees are doing great. And in fact, they are thriving in this season.
Well, so Mike, about, 4 or 5 years ago, I was at a franchise event talking to someone from Paul Davis, don't even recall who it was, and they enlightened me. I had heard the name a little. Man, you guys are big. I had no clue how big you are. So help us understand what you do, how big you are, and then we'll get back deeper into how you were impacted.
Yeah, sure, you bet. So basically, we're a one-stop shop for anybody who has something terrible happen in their home or their business, right? So I liken it to say we're very much like an emergency room for a home or business. No one wants to go, but everybody wants really good care when they get there. And what that comes down to from what we do is, whether it's fire, flood, mold, storm, COVID-19 issues, we deal with trauma as well. So we deal with very difficult pathogens on a regular basis. So when this came along, our folks were well trained and well prepared to deal with it. We have 320 offices across the US and Canada, and we are just about $1 billion in network-wide sales, with most of our offices exceeding $3.5 million in revenue every year, and many of them into the 8 figures range out of one location. So we're really thankful to have decent influence here in this market. Matter of fact, in what we call our lane, we're second largest in the space. So we're really grateful. You know, our vision is that we provide extraordinary care while we serve people in their time of need, and we take that very seriously. So we're very thankful to help people in their time of need.
Yeah, well, you know, you never want to benefit from a pandemic, but you want to be a blessing and certainly help people in their time of need, and that's what you're doing. So, help us kind of walk us through the timeline. You know, if you look February, March, April, May, franchisees on average, how did their revenue go? Did you see a dip, and then is it above normal, or where are you at?
So we have seen, you know, when in March it got a little bit lighter, but almost not at all. I mean, we've always prided ourselves in the fact that we're very recession resistant. I guess in this process, we also found out that we are pandemic and virus resistant as well. But we could help there, right? So that was the biggest difference, is that we're used to cleaning up situations that are messy, right? That's what we do. And so as this came on strong, we had the technology, the people, a world-class training team to teach people how to do the cleaning. And then also we have a great group of folks who operationally are helping support our offices. And so what that meant to our revenues was that, you know, February was the industry was a bit slower, but then as we rolled into March, very slight dip. And then in April and through May, our lead flow was actually up over prior year. So
what kind of leads are you talking? What was the lead?
So what we do, that'd be a good thing to explain. So we see losses come in from all kinds of sources. It could be from a kitchen fire or a house fire. It could be from a water line breaking, which is often, that's the majority of the things. The things that you see on TV are a part of our business as well. So hurricanes, tornadoes, and things like that. But we take care of those in our communities. We don't chase those all around the country. And some of our franchisees will travel if our carriers need us there. But and then in addition to that, obviously the desire and the need for cleanup, doing disinfecting or applying disinfectants, really. So if you think of what needs to happen in the COVID case situation, we easily take care of that by coming in, doing cleaning, and then applying disinfectants to all surfaces and fogging and so forth to make sure that we've used the right technology, make sure it's clean. So the amount of leads that came in from that, I know that we've done north of 1,750 projects around helping people get back into business, you know, get society reopened, if you will. So we're clearly an essential service at this time. So some of our leads came from there, but even without that, we still would have been up.
Were they residential and commercial, or were you really focused on just commercial? Because, you know, we're all at home, and so I can see pipes breaking, and, you know, plumbing is up a lot because of everybody at home using the facilities. Is it similar to that? You just home and commercial have boomed?
Yeah, it's both. Not as much of the applying of disinfectants to the home. That's now part of our regular process. So it's part of our regular process to clean in and clean out. And make sure that we're, you know, obviously following the CDC protocols there with masks and so forth. In the commercial space, it's really about the reopening, right? Or in some cases, staying open, right? Where folks want to stay open. So there are people who are on regular routines of doing some sort of applying of disinfectants on a daily and at least weekly basis. So it's a bit of both. But, you know, cleaning isn't our thing. But when you've got, we do cleaning, but we do cleaning only in severe cases. So it's not our norm to clean offices and things like that on a regular basis. But when you've got a pathogen or a virus that needs taken care of, that's where we get involved.
So do you see any of this shift, this pivot, as we say, being permanent? Are you going to continue to do more and more of the cleaning side of things and the disinfecting and fogging?
Likely not as a main vertical. If we have a situation where there's, you know, someone's been infected and there's been a known case, I imagine people will bring us in for a deeper clean using the techniques we use, for instance, when we're dealing with trauma or a Cat 3 loss, which is, you know, very dirty water. But as a typical mainstay of our event, no, absolutely. The things that got us here are continue to have us move forward in the world. So our main verticals around, you know, again, the things I mentioned earlier, both residentially and commercially, will ultimately propel us forward as we continue to grow.
And what about your communications? How did that change from February to today? Are you back to a February cadence?
No, absolutely not back to a February cadence. I think, you know, it's neat because we've always prided ourselves in having very good communications, both franchisor and franchisee, and franchisee to franchisee. So our collaboration doesn't end with just us at the home office speaking with our franchisees and collaborating there, but getting our franchisees to talk. So what basically happened there was we jumped right in with, like I said earlier, the training team on, you know, how to be careful and how to actually produce these jobs and safety around our own offices. We had our legal and finance department making sure that people were getting in touch with the right people to ensure that they got the PPP and understanding that ever-changing, almost moment-by-moment change in that. And then we had our marketing team helping us, making sure that the communication was very tight, very succinct with our franchisees, with loads and loads of communication. Some people say over-communicate. I don't agree. I don't think there's such a thing. We communicated as was necessary, which was a lot, and there was a daily cadence call for every day, and now that's twice a week in most cases, where there's a regional one and a national one. As a matter of fact, the national one's today at 3 o'clock, and Charlie Chase, the CEO of FirstService Brands, is going to jump in on that one as well. So we've involved everyone. What's been most fun about it for me, from a collaborative standpoint in a difficult situation, is that we've really had a lot of fun, even more than normal, involving our franchisees in our process improvement. And so our franchisees have helped us walk through everything from the franchise distribution help to being on site and looking at our entire customer journey and retooling that customer journey for our current state that we're in. And so, and it's been important because that collaboration has allowed us to very quickly test some things in the field and come back with models that are tested and people can get behind. So that's been that collaboration has been really appreciated. We had it before, but that's something that's really been ramped up and been a lot of fun.
Your customer journey, so that has actually changed somewhat. Help us understand that, if you would, and then is it going to change back, or is this sort of a permanent journey change?
You know, I don't know if it'll change back. You know, I would suspect it's going to last for a while. You know, obviously folks have a spectrum of where they're at. We have folks that are hypersensitive to it and folks that really think this isn't happening. And so we want to be sensitive to where people are on that journey. And basically when we look at our customer journey and we think of, you know, where's the felt need for our service, right? Ours is pretty obvious, right? Because something bad happened at your home or your business. And then that works its way through, you know, a felt need and a first contact and being on site and giving an estimate and then producing the work and then celebrating at the end of the project with the customer. And then that sort of ends that piece of the cycle. Well, every piece of it has unique new things that involve really health and safety that we're really hyper-focused on at this time. I would say that what really has been a huge help there has been looking at what is the minimum safe standard that we all are going to stand behind. So whether a customer wants to protect our folks when they're on site or not matters to us. So in other words, if our folks show up and they greet from a distance, put their mask on, go in and so forth with some other protocols that we have in a very safe way, and the customer says, no, you don't need your mask. They need to say, no, it is our protocol to keep our mask on. If the customer insists of not having the mask on, they have full permission to say, we can't do this project if you won't let me keep my mask on, right? So we want to protect our team members in that process. What we've found, Red, is from early intake of their information, where we actually do a bit of a very general screen to see if they are healthy and been in safe environments, as well as tell them about our folks checking their temperature, making sure that they're healthy coming into your home too. That's done two things. The customer is very interested to know we care about their health. Some people thought, oof, customer might be offended by it. They're actually very excited about it because they know that we are caring for them and we're caring for our folks that are on site at the same time. And our folks on site are where it all happens, right? We deem ourselves the employer of choice. And to do that, your folks have to know you're taking care of them. And in turn, they do an incredible job taking care of our customers.
So your folks in the field are carrying a, correct me if I'm wrong, like a skin thermometer, and they actually will check when they are checked themselves, but then they also check the client just to make sure that your people are safe.
They don't actually check the client. We do back at the office. We make sure that no one has a temperature, and then move it forward. But they're asking when the customer first calls in with their loss, their need. We ask them, hey, is everyone healthy there? And then our teams are typically checking on, hey, is there any new news on anyone's health condition at your home during the project as well? Nice. So we're steadfast on everyone's safety, and that's the biggest thing in that customer journey that's changed. Is, one of our basics is to make sure that we are careful to respect the customer's property and preferences, and that's our serving basic number 9. And keeping that in mind now is more important than ever. So we want to really make sure that we adjust and tailor our experience for each customer to be the healthiest and safest one that we can. The good news is that people still want us in their homes because they need us there. So it's been neat to watch.
It's been, yeah, absolutely neat to watch and see the empathy. So many of our employees and team members are not used to showing that much empathy, and in this time you have to. Franchisors have learned that to show a little love and a little caring and flexibility. We had to learn that a little more than we realized at the time. We had a few clients that were needing to pause, and we're like, hey, we have an agreement. And then real quickly we pivoted and said, come on, okay, we're going to work with you here. And it's built a deeper relationship between us and our clients, and no doubt you and your clients and even your new clients. How about we pivot ourselves and talk FranDev? Now, you as COO, I would think wouldn't have a good handle on that, but you tell me that you are actually oversee franchise development as well. So I'm excited to hear Paul Davis, kind of the two parts to the question. One, what's happened to those candidates that were in process when it all went down? And then we'll talk new pipeline and what that looks like.
Yeah, you bet. I've got to tell you, first of all, thank you for being a partner with us in providing some incredible candidates over the years. You do a great job finding us the kind of people that we're looking for. Your team members are a huge asset to that. When we think about who we're looking for men and women who really want to have significant businesses that make a big impact in their community where they live. And it's been great to watch. From the development standpoint, it's been really strong. We've never seen stronger candidates. As a matter of fact, we have our largest owner school going on right now that we've ever had. And so when a lot of people think things would slow down, in fact, they haven't. And I think, I know that, in fact, the reason for that is that we're not non-essential in seasons like this, right? We know that we're recession resistant, but like I said earlier in the call, we're also resistant to pandemics and viruses in that sense.
And is this class you're talking about virtual? Or are you actually going to meet in person?
Virtual for the training that we could do virtual, and we've pivoted on that in many aspects. So we've always used video technology in our world, and so that's not new to us. We're big on technology at our organization because it makes us more efficient, and we have people all across North America, so it's a great way to communicate. So we have the portions that can be virtual. Our owners are also spend time in an office learning more about what it's like in the real world, so they did travel for that, and they're currently right now in Jacksonville doing this with safe distancing, of course, training there. So we lessened the overall class size so that our owners could be, very safe. And our lead trainers are leaders in the IICRC, and so they certainly know how to keep things safe when they're running a classroom. So it's been a bit of both, a bit more virtual early, but then in the back half been very, very strong.
And you mentioned Jacksonville, Florida. You do your training down there. Is that a norm?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is our international training center there. So we have Paul Davis University there with a flood house and loads of training opportunities. So there's literally an entire home there that we've flooded well over, I think it's now 125 times with, north of 1,000 gallons of water. And it's built to spec. And it's a very interesting, it literally had to pass get an occupancy permit to be used in the state of Florida. So we have that, and we also have many corporate offices there as well. But the training center is a big highlight of what we do there with an incredible team down there. That's what's unique about our business, I think, is that it's really an opportunity for senior leaders in organizations to move forward and take a little control of their future, but they don't need construction experience because we can train that. So we work very hard on developing people here in our organization, and that starts with very skilled folks from the past who have led large teams. We call them A players, which can be a little bit cliche, but the definition's certainly not. So we define an A player as a person who has a winning spirit to serve others, a history of great results, and values that are congruent with our brand. And so when we find folks that want to lead big organizations and kind of take control of their future, they're a great fit. And that has continued to just keep moving. I could not be more pleased with our franchise distribution team, but also folks like you all that are helping us meet some great new people.
Mike, how long you been there? How long you been at Paul Davis?
4.5 years.
4.5.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know the brand well.
Yeah.
I was going to start quizzing you on your 9. You mentioned number 9 earlier. I'm like, okay, what's number 7? On your value.
Yeah. We know those things, and in our organization, our vision, our mission, our values, our serving basics. There's 10 of them. Are part of our culture. They're not just stuff we stick on our wall.
Obviously.
Right. So we live that, right? And so when we look at our operations team, for instance, I've talked about this for years, and really it goes across our entire brand, that our objective is to live our vision, our mission, our values, and what we're all about in our basics. And then really to lead assertively. So we lead assertively in 2 ways. One is we race to conflict. So we keep the issues small. And the other one that I think often gets missed is that we race to celebrate. And by that, what I mean is and I know this to be true in my professional career. I've been around as a franchisee and a franchisor doing this sort of thing since 1992. And is that what you celebrate gets accelerated. And so sure, we measure things as much as we can so we can manage them. But to really accelerate something, you have to celebrate it. And then finally, in our organization, the third piece of what I call the trust circle is that we inspire, but we can only inspire through great results. So you can be the nicest human on the planet, and if you don't get great results, that is not inspiring, and that will not move a brand forward. So that's a ton of fun.
And how much of the training do you do personally? It sounds like I felt like I was in a little bit of a training class here with casting the vision and helping understand the culture. That's fantastic.
Well, in the training and onboarding process, I'm part of that. I do the selection of our franchisees with our team. So interview that along with a couple other folks as well. So it's important to me that people fit the culture of where we're going. I don't, quite frankly, to be honest with you, and in this space, I don't want to sell a single franchise. All we want to do is meet people who are a great fit for Paul Davis, and we're a great fit for them, and we can go build a brand together. And so really the culture piece of who we are and what we're about is absolutely vital to our success as we look to develop people as well. So we also believe that leaders are built. So it's, that takes time and effort and focus. And so I'm surrounded by an incredible team, Brad. That's all there is to it.
Well, in these franchises, 30-something that are franchisees that are in training, how many franchises does that 30-something represent?
So, well, it's not 30-something. That group is, and keep in mind that our offices, like I say, within, our average productivity is about 3.5 times the size of most people in our space. So from a revenue standpoint, our offices are very large compared to others. And so we have represented 14 new offices, I believe it is, in class today. And that's exciting because we are very careful in the selection process. And that's a big number for us moving forward, and we already have folks in the funnel for our next class. So it's pretty neat to see. And then we have a launch team that supports them for 2 years, sometimes a little shorter, sometimes a little longer, and then they move over to being coached by our regional business consultants. And so it's a very thorough process for someone to onboard, right? So those franchisees.
Oh, sorry, little delay on here. Do your current Paul Davis franchisees also own any other FirstService Brand franchises? Do they cross-pollinate?
Typically not. We do work together as often as we can. Typically not, because these businesses are so scalable that this becomes, you know, their main thing. But there have been a couple that have done that, but primarily people that run these Paul Davis businesses, this is what they do.
Yeah, yeah. There's plenty of opportunity, and focus certainly pays off. Well, Mike, this has been fascinating. Any other advice, predictions for the industry?
Predictions. I'm not going to go there at all, Red. But I would say this, that our world is a different place. And what this has done for us at our franchise is sped up the things that we knew we needed to do. I'm hearing a lot of that. And that we were working on maybe over a period of a year, got sped up to 3 to 4 months. If there was anything, I guess I would say to anybody that's listening, is just always keep safety first. You know, that's a deal, especially your frontline folks, your frontline team members. Keep them safe in this process, because ultimately they're the ones that deliver our brand. So this brand, Paul Davis, is only successful because of the folks that are out there doing it every day. And then I think that other thing, you mentioned empathetic. I think that's a really big deal, because from a geographic level and from a risk level, personally, everyone's in a bit different place here. Yes, it's the same virus, but we're all in different places with this geographically and our risk level. And then collaborate, communicate, and educate. By the way, that's another one of our basics. You know, keep doing that with franchisees and customers as well. And then the last thing we just talked about is just lead assertively through this. We plan to, and we're looking for other people that want to do the same thing. And I couldn't be more proud to be part of this brand. Really neat group of folks who want to make sure franchisees are winning. And that's what really gets us up in the morning as we take care of people.
Couldn't say it better. You've been listening to Mike Hopkins, who was COO of Paul Davis Restoration, part of FirstService Brands. I'm Red Boswell with IFPG. Thanks for joining Franchising Stronger Together. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Red.